So the reason why we come to Call is because they have internationally accredited dark sky status. Their skies have been measured, and there's a dark sky group on the island.
I knew very little about coal. I'd heard of it. I knew it was in the Hebrides, and that was it.
I'm here because I care for my brother. Came over from Cyprus to attend a funeral, and he didn't recognise any of the family. We took him up to the hospital, and he was diagnosed with having dementia. He had never known that he'd had dementia up until that point. He knew there was something going on in his mind, but he just wasn't sure what it was.
The chance to relax, to be among other carers, a large number of whom I already know. Get away from my caring role for a weekend, and besides the astronomy, it's absolutely brilliant for birding too.
I am a carer for both my wife and son who have got a form of muscular dystrophy.
We're here running the Call in the Cosmos course for carers on a respite break. Doing this now for 4-5 years. We've been working with the carers for that long. I think we've been bringing them here since around about 2016. 2014, the Royal Astronomical Society were already planning to celebrate their 200th anniversary. I was a newly elected fellow of the society, and so some emails had went out saying, we're looking for ideas for projects to celebrate the anniversary. We've got this money here, and we're looking for 5 to 10 projects. There was some town hall meetings that were planned around the country. The closest one to me was at Dynamic Earth in Edinburgh, so I'd went in there. Round about then we'd not long set up the planetarium. So again, I was just looking for people to engage with, work with, and it seemed like a really good idea to go along. And just as chance would have it, I was sitting at the table at one point. We mixed around the room with Ruth, who's the manager at Care for Carers. So they were doing respite breaks for carers, and we were coming to Call and doing astronomy breaks. So it seemed quite an interesting collaboration to see if we could sort of combine those two events.
Previous to the astronomy breaks, we had only ever been able to visit very local kind of sites. So one of our main respite breaks was in a place called Linlithgow, which is only 20 miles outside of Edinburgh. And all our breaks took place there. So we didn't go very far, we didn't have the capacity, and we didn't have the funding. So this has enabled us to take the breaks as far afield as Call. We've been to Dumfries and Galloway as well with the money, and we're now doing some work on the Isle of Lismore. So it's become a real feature of our work.
Compared to Edinburgh, Call's so peaceful, so quiet, much darker. You see a completely different array of stars. So for example, in Edinburgh, I can go out at night and you can recognise the plough, you can find the North Star, I can find Cassiopeia, and really there's not an awful lot more that I can recognise. And Orion, of course. But you can only see so many constellations. You come here and there's so many stars in the sky that you can hardly even find the ones that you know.
W there, do you see it straight above us? That's the Cassiopeia. That's the actual Milky Way. You can just make it out, yeah? Just see there.
People find it difficult to understand and it's quite isolating as a man, but this gives me that time to enjoy with other people that you get to know. And for me to get here, I've got to get my wife into respite, son into respite, with all the medication and whatnot, and then care for carers to help by arranging things with the help of the Royal Astronomy Society. It makes life so much easier.
I know that there's stars in the sky and I like standing watching them, you know, sometimes I like watching them, but I didn't know a lot about them. And I found it really interesting and educational, informative, with the stuff that the guys with the astronomy, I didn't know any of that existed. So I think it's made me look at things a wee bit differently.
I think one of the biggest things for the carers is that they're away from their caring situation, and that's really hard for people to get away. Not always because they can't get away, but because of their own feelings of guilt, of leaving the person behind. But coming away, meeting other carers, realising that this is acceptable, this is good, this is actually will benefit them and the person that they care for. I think that's something that they come to realise over the few days.
Now I know what I'm going to ask my wife to get me for my Christmas, which is going to be a telescope.